going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Auto Auction Refills, where today the project of the day is the, you know what, I don't even remember what year it is. It's the Volkswagen Passat. I don't remember. Yeah, I really don't remember. I don't remember anything about it. Anyway, here it is. You guys probably remember this. I've had several of you asking me, like, when are you going to get started? When are you going to get started? When are you going to get started? When are you going to finish the Passat? And I finally decided, you know what? You guys are right. I have put this car off long enough. We thought originally it had computer issues. There was water and mold in the floor. We've gotten all that cleared up. And then we discovered a broken timing belt. An original Audi branded timing belt, right? Okay, so what are we going to do? I don't know. I've never done a timing belt on one of these before. This is an interference engine, which means 99% chance this car is not going to run again. No, I am not replacing the head, even though truthfully this doesn't look like it's a very complicated head to replace. I'm not doing it. This car truthfully is not worth it. I figured if this car was running and driving in the condition it's in, you know, cleaned up, we might be able to get $2,000 out of it. The car is just not worth that much, guys. The body's scratched and dinged up. I got to disconnect the battery still. The seats are in good condition. Door cards are in good shape. The headliner is falling down, as you can see, all through. Actually, it's not that bad, but back here, yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, I thought so. It's just not in that good a shape. We got hail dings and stuff all over it. And if you're wondering what the heck is going on back here, I'm ozoning the cars because the truck has gone up for sale for $4,000 and it smelled, you know, as most used cars do, funky smell. Got the ozone machine in it for 30 minutes. Now I'm letting it just kind of air out because you don't want to breathe those fumes. We got the, I almost call this the Volkswagen. We got the E46 that sounds like an M3. You guys probably won't believe me. I'll go over to TK's Garages channel. He's got a video of us cruising around in this. This thing sounds mean as hell. I'm not kidding you. We got to get those headers finished, bolted up. I got to get the oxygen sensors properly installed. We've got the new ozone machine that they've got me trying out for them. I'll talk about that later. That's what that little blue light there is in your screen. It's a digital ozone machine. I've had that thing run. I've used it on 3 cars so far, and it has done great. So there will be a link in the description and in the comment section for that ozone machine, because truthfully it's one of the cheaper models and it is very, very capable ozone machine. It has been working out wonderfully. So yeah, we're doing the timing belt on an engine that's interference. Most likely we have bent valves. Most likely we have several bent valves. That's going to be my guess. But it doesn't hurt to get a timing belt on anyway. Like I said, I've never done one on this particular engine before. It looks fairly straightforward and simple. Thankfully it looks like everything is out of the way, as in the air conditioning pulley is there, the tensioner is over here, the alternator is over here. Is this electronic power steering? Surely they didn't have electronic power steering in this day and age. I'm sure they didn't. But truthfully, I don't see a power steering pump anywhere. So this to me, it looks like it's pretty easy. You've got a motor mount, obviously. Motor mount's got to get out of the way. I'm hoping we don't have to take a whole bunch of coolant lines off. I don't want to lose the coolant if I can help it. I'm willing to relocate the coolant bottle, kind of move some hoses out of the way, work around them. We're going to have to get this wheel off, obviously, and probably part of the inner fender off so that we can get to the crank pulley itself. And since the belt's broken, we're going to have to line up the cam, we're going to have to line up the crank, and we're just going to hope. And I already know, you guys are probably already sitting there telling yourselves there's no way it's going to run. He's wasting his time, wasting his money. If you're going to do it right. Take off the head, check the valve, put a borescope down there. I know, but the truth of the matter is I'm not looking forward to this one. I'm not even going to lie. After I bought it, I was like, Randy, what did you do? You know, I thought it was going to be like an electrical thing we could fix, and then when I found out it was a broken timing belt, I was like, oh man, I lost all motivation when I found out the timing belt was broken. But we're going to get it done. If it runs, great. It runs, we put it up for sale, hopefully make a few dollars. If it doesn't run, I don't care anymore. We didn't pay but like $200, $300 for this. It sent it down to Weird Beard. It can be a parts car. Someone can buy it as parts or to fix or whatever. The rest of the car is not too bad. The panels are decent. Tires are good. You know, maybe it'll run, maybe it won't. Let's get started. All right, before I go any further, big shout out to Austin. He took me over to Harbor Freight, hooked me up with a hell of a deal on these tools, man. These are phenomenal. They're like $169. which honestly is insane. You get all the screwdrivers with the T10, 15, 20, 25, 30. All right, flatheads, Phillips, pliers, dikes, needle nose, adjustable. Then you've got your 1/2 inch down here, which has got like every size imaginable to man, including the extensions. Look at this. Then over here, you got all your 3/8 and 1/4 inch right here. Okay, even a breaker bar, and even this thing, which somebody comment below. I don't know what this is. If someone could comment below and tell me exactly what that is, I would appreciate it. You've got all of your deeps, shallows. You've even got these almost look like triple squares, aren't they? Are these triple squares right here? Like your European? Oh no, it just says it's a Torx. Never mind, it's not a triple square. Triple square's got a lot more points to it than that. But look at this. This is insane. All your little wrenches, your little Allens. You even got 1/2 inch flex, 1/4 inch flex, and 3/8 inch flex. So many different tools down here for the money. I've got a Craftsman set sitting over here that I've had for over a decade. My ex-wife bought that for me. And there's nothing wrong with it. The ratchets are starting to give out lifetime warranty on these. It's not paid promotion, guys. I'm just telling you. That set is smaller than this by a long shot. That one I think was like $249. So we got some T25s in here. I'm going to release probably this one, and this one, and hope that this section falls down. The crank pulley is going to be under here. We got to get the crank pulley off, got to get the belt off, and that's where we're starting. All right, we got it off. That was really easy. You got one of your charge pipes right here that runs up. Here is your crank pulley. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are going to be like Allen heads. I'm going to figure out what size they are. I'm guessing maybe 8 to 10. I could be totally wrong about that. But next, we got to get our belt off. That'll be the next thing. And this looks really easy, guys. So far, so good. Cross your fingers. All right, so the tensioner was a nice little 16 mil. I used kind of a shallow 16 on a shallow breaker bar. Just stuck it right up here like this. Boom, loosen it up. Belt came off. And now we're getting somewhere. We got to get the crank pulley off. Obviously, I'll focus on that next, and we're going to work on getting the motor mount out, which should be, looks like a couple bolts up here, a couple bolts right there. I have to put a jack under it to support the engine when we take this mount off. That should give us pretty clear access, hopefully, to our timing cover. Pull that off and start working on replacing the belt. And next, we got these little quick connects. So this, as I was hoping, you can just take this off, this coolant reservoir. Take it off, it sits right up top. All right, no big deal, just get out of the way. You got some room where you got these 3 fuel lines. One's a send, one's a return, the other's, I don't know what it is. But anyway, you got these fuel lines. Probably want to pop these out of their little homes here. I marked them 1, 2, and 3. I scribed on them so I would know where they went. This one is going to be easy because it didn't want to come off. So I actually disconnected it from the fuel rail right there. Okay, so we got that one. That one goes back on the fuel rail right there. So that's easy to know where it goes. These two over here, however, they'll pretty much go right back on. The one with the blue tab goes in the middle. The one with the white tab goes on the green. So white goes to green, and then, white tab, green nipple. Blue tab, white nipple. Okay, you just take these and you can kind of gently scoot them out of the way as well. These aren't really too brittle, so I'm not overly concerned with bending them. Move them out of the way. Now we've got access to the motor mount and a couple little things attached to the motor mount right here. You got a couple bolts for your motor mount here. It's probably like, I don't know, 16, 17. Looks like we've got a couple smaller ones on each side here that are probably 14s. Looks like we got a little bracket right here that's got to come off. So you got a bolt here, and then obviously the bolt, probably 10 mil holding this washer bottle. Get all that out of the way. I've got a jack over here supporting the engine. Okay, they should be able to pull this mount off. Looks like we got some kind of a coolant bypass pipe right in the middle. This sucks because, as I said, I was trying to do this without losing coolant. Yeah, so I don't know. We're probably going to have to put a drain pan underneath there. We're probably going to lose some coolant. As much as I hate to do that, I don't see any way around it. So let's start with getting the motor mount off, getting this out of the way, this little bracket over here, and see where we're at when we finish with that part. Moving right along, we've got the motor mount out, very simple. You'll see that on the coolant hose, I didn't want to lose a lot of coolant, so I used these like needle nose channel lock or needle nose vice grips, and I clamped it so I didn't lose any. I've got it straight up, and I've got it moved out of the way as much as possible from my timing belt cover right here. And as you can see, it wants to play with me. There's probably a better way to do this. I probably could have watched some videos or something on this, but this looks like such an easy timing belt job. Nah, I'm not even going to bother with it. So as you can see, the motor is jacked up really, really high because you got this motor mount bracket that bolts onto the engine. We got to get this off. It looks like these are 16s, so I'm just going to use a 16 here. There's another 16 down there that you're not going to be able to see, but trust me, there's a 16 down there, a 16 there, then one way at the bottom. We'll have to lower the engine to get that one out. Then that bracket should come off. That should give us full access to the timing belt cover. Then it's a matter of taking a few more Torx bolts out, taking the harmonic balancer or the pulley, you know, the crankshaft pulley, probably. I don't think that's a balancer, but crankshaft pulley off, time belt cover off. Then we have access. Then it's a matter of taking off the broken belt, lining everything back up, putting the belt back on, and we're done. This is so far so good. This has been so simple, and I feel like I'm jinxing myself right now. Comment below right now. Do you think it's going to run, or do you think it's got bent valves? Just do me a favor and comment that right now. Thumbs up, it's going to run. Thumbs down, bent valves, and comment down below. So we're back, and we got the timing belt off, and it really wasn't that big of a job. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is like a 4. You know, it's really not that hard. You could do this yourself. You're going to need a lot of different tools. As you can see, I've got an assortment of sockets, a couple wrenches. Definitely going to need something like this with a flexible head to get into some of these tight places. It really was not that bad of a job. Now, we've got our cam gear right here, all right, and we actually have a timing mark right there. That timing mark needs to line up with this arrow right here, and then the cam is where it needs to be. Down there, same sort of situation. You got your crank pulley down there, and we're going to need to make sure we got the marks lined up on it. I may actually have to double and triple check to make sure I know where the marks are on that. Once that's lined up and this is lined up, then we can get this loosened, put a Torx in here, and this will be good to go. So now I'm going to feel for play and noise. Okay, this tensioner pulley sounds good. That's got a little noise. No play. Little noise though. Little noise there too. Tad bit of play. Water pump. No play. No noise. Okay, so that's it. It's good enough. We're going to put it back there. Like I said, this is not some high dollar car. We're not going to spend any more money on this than we need to actually get it running. And chances are, like I said earlier, why am I not spending all the money on a water pump, tensioner, idlers? Guys, 99% chance it's not going to run. It's just not. So I'm not going to spend any additional money on it. We're going to put it together. If it runs, it runs. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We did our best. Now, there's a couple tricks. Number one, this tensioner is loaded right now, which means this thing's under a crap ton of pressure. If it pops, it's going to freaking hurt. Okay, so you're going to need a 16 mil for that bottom bolt there. You're going to have to put it in full tension mode, slide a 4 millimeter Allen head key, whatever you want to call that thing. You know what I'm talking about. Slide that in there and lock it into this rusted tab right here. Lock that sucker in place because that's the only way you're going to get to that bolt and both of these bolts. Otherwise, it'll never happen. Next, the harmonic balancer. That was a lot of fun. That was the next hardest part. These are 6 millimeter Allen heads, and I've got a happy little 6 millimeter somewhere down here. I don't know where, right there it is. Okay, so we've got us a nice little 6 mil, and it's a quarter inch drive because it's so small. So what I had to do is I had to create a concoction of 1/4 inch to 3/8, okay? 3/8 to a 1/2 inch adapter right here. And then I stuck all of these together like so, and I put my little 4 mil on there, and I used my Earthquake XT. This thing is insane, and it like zing zing took it right off. Aside from that, those two things, that's really all there is to it. It really wasn't that complicated. Now we're going to get everything lined up. I'm going to put the belt on. We're going to tighten the tensioner back down, make sure everything's good. Rotate it by hand a good 3 or 4 times. Make sure all of our timing marks are still in sync. If they are, I'm not putting it back together. What I will do is I will lower the engine, hook up this coolant bypass hose, okay? We'll just stick it back on. I'm not going to torque it down or anything. Put it back on. We'll put our fuel lines back on, connect a couple sensors that need to be connected, and then we're going to attempt to start it without anything, without the harmonic balancer. Yeah, the harmonic balancer, or the crank cog down there, the crank pulley, is actually held on with a triple square bolt, so it will not come off. So you can put the belt on, leave all your accessories off. You can leave the cover off. You don't have to put any of that stuff back on, and I do this on every car when I do a timing belt. I leave everything off. Double, triple, quadruple check your marks by hand, and then try to start it up without putting anything back there, because if something is going to be off or wrong, you can fix it right now. If you put the whole engine back together, you're going to be really pissed off if you got to do this again, because the next hardest thing was this piece right here. This is a bear to get in and out of here, okay? This is going to be fun for me to get back in, let me just tell you that. So better to find out before you put it back together if anything needs fixed. Let's get this sucker bolted up, buttoned up, I should say. Let's get it buttoned up, try it out, and see if it runs. All right, we're coming back one more time because I finally got my timing marks. Thankfully, somebody sent them to me. Thank you very much. So as you can see, the crank line's up there, cam line's up right there with the mark that I'm already on. It even gives you like detailed pictures down here. So this was extremely helpful, very, very helpful. So thank you to whoever sent that to me. So the cam is almost where it needs to be. I need to move it over just a hair. I'll do that when I'm ready to line up my belt. The problem I was having was the crank. So it's probably difficult to see, but up here, right where my finger is, there's an arrow, and it says like 0T for top dead center. All right, there's a mark scribed on the back of this pulley. And if your belt snaps, like this is really, you got to get it lined up with this first. Once you get that lined up, then you can take these bolts back out, and your crank pulley is right where it needs to be. Make sure your cam is where it needs to be. Loosen up your tensioner. It's a matter of throwing the new belt on. We're almost ready to find out if it's going to run. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. We've got everything half-ass assembled, halfway put back together. The cam mark is lined up, crank mark's lined up. I got so frustrated, guys. It took me about 5 different times to get this thing finally lined up with tension put on it. Once I got that done, I cranked it over by hand. I got about maybe 1 1/4 rotations, and it froze. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? Turns out, I guess the engine's been sitting for a long time. Well, I know it's been sitting a long time. Perhaps there was a ridge or something. A little bit of rust starting to accumulate inside the motor. I don't know. I had to run it backwards, which you don't want to do counterclockwise. You really don't ever want to do that. But I ran it back counterclockwise a little bit, ran it forward, back forward, and eventually it freed up. Now I've rotated it 5 or 6 times clockwise, full revolutions. Cam gear still lines up. Crank still lines up. I think it looks like it could be like a tooth off. But at this point, I'm kind of frustrated, and we're going to send it. So I'm going to grab the key, and this is with you. Whoa, I about fell. Thank you, Jessica's laughing. I about fell over. It's getting late. I really didn't want to spend this much time on this today. I think the battery is charged. This is legit. Like, we're just going to send it. Let's see. I'm nervous. I don't expect it to run, but the good news is we don't have any binding up in the motor, so are you ready? This thing has not run in God knows how long. That didn't sound good, did it? That doesn't sound good at all. It sounds like no compression at all. You see what I mean? There's no binding, but I think there's no compression. I think we got bent valves. I mean, I expected as much. I don't mean to sound depressed, but you always hope, you know? Battery's getting weak. All right. So I've got the jump and carry connected. It sounds like there's no compression, so I really don't expect it to start. But knowing my luck, as soon as I turn the camera off, that's when it's finally gonna fire off. So in the unlikely event Nah. There's nothing, man. Alright, so we sprayed the ether in it. I've got a fire extinguisher right here. Damn it. I'm getting tired of falling over everything. My garage is a mess right now from working on this thing. I don't expect that's going to do any good, but... No. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to call that a wrap, man. I checked my timing marks again. Even though I said I wasn't going to spend any more time on this car, I really wanted it to run. But deep down, I know that the timing belt broke. I know that this is an interference engine, and I know that the engine is toast. At least the cylinder head. Sure, it's fixable. Is it worth an engine? No. Is it worth me putting the time it's going to take me to put a cylinder head on this? No, it's not. Guys, for better or worse, this car is probably a $1,500 car, tops the way it is. We paid like $300 for it, plus fees, plus the tags. We probably have like $500 in it. The belt was $40. The battery was probably like, I don't know, $60 or so. So we're already well into, well on our way to not making a lot of money. So buying an engine, putting it in just isn't going to happen. I'm going to try it one more time. No, there's just no compression. I can tell it's turning over too easily. Am I disappointed? Yeah, of course I'm disappointed. Is it the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world, man. I set off on a mission tonight, okay? My goal tonight was to get this car done for you guys, I mean, one way or another, for better or worse. This motor is apparently trash. Now, there's a very good possibility you could put a cylinder head on it. It'd probably be just fine. But when you get through, even if you get a used, guaranteed cylinder head, you got to get a new head gasket. There's tons of gaskets and seals that you're going to need to put this back together again. Then you're going to want to make sure you do the water pump, the idler pulleys, the tensioner pulley, the serpentine. This car has never been driven. Understand that, please. We don't even know if the transmission's any good. It should be. It probably is. But we don't know that the transmission's good. I'm telling you, one time on a Saturn, I was told it had a bad motor. And it did. The motor completely shattered. It was an aluminum block, shattered. I put a motor in it, the transmission was shot too. They were driving around with a bad transmission, which is what shot the motor to begin with. So after that experience, no sir, I learned my lesson. It does suck. My goal is always to bring these things back to life, but there's just some cars are not worth the time, energy, effort, and money to bring back to life. Some cars are just destined to die, and this one is dead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt it back here. I'm not going to put the timing cover and stuff. Actually, yeah, I will. Yeah, well, I'll put it back together, but I'm not going to put everything back together 100% because someone's going to have to tear it all down again, or somebody's going to use it for parts. We already put brand new plugs in it too. Spark plugs. Did that like a month or two ago. At this point, it's dead as a doornail. Now, real quick, I promised this company I'd do a quick review of their product. It's going to be very quick, 30 to 60 seconds. This is Air the Real. It is a really cool looking ozone machine right here, guys. Got your fan in the back, power plug. You got your buttons up front, which are power, fan, ozone, interval, and timer. You can set this thing to operate on an interval. Basically, every so many hours you can run it. It's got plenty of settings. It is digital, which is pretty cool. You've got anywhere from 2 Gs per hour to 10 Gs per hour, so that's kind of insane. Treatment times are 1 to 2 hours. Room size from like 0 square feet, 2,000 plus square feet. It really gives you detailed instructions on how to use it. The only thing that I have not liked about it is that when you plug it in and you push the power button in the middle so you can get your settings right, as soon as you push power, that ozone machine starts generating ozone. I would prefer it not start putting out ozone until you have your settings right, which will be your fan speed, the amount of ozone you want, the interval, the timer, and everything. And then like a start button, so you can push start and run away. You kind of have to plug it in, turn it on, hold your breath, get all your settings right, and then run. But aside from that, I use it on 3 cars for about a total of an hour and a half. This thing is amazing. The price is right. Direct link in the description. Thank you, Air the Real, for sending me this wonderful ozone machine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that's going to be it for the video. I hate having to end videos on a sour note, man. You know, it sucks. It doesn't run. I'm not going to lie. I knew it wasn't going to run. Of course, it's got bent valves, but I hoped. I hoped. I may even fiddle around with it just a little bit more. Not that there's really anything else I can do but shove starting fluid down it and hope that maybe it builds up enough compression to fire, but I don't think so. I am not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to get depressed over it because when I bought it, I knew it didn't run. Hey, sometimes you win them. You know, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. This is one you just didn't. Most of the time, I feel like we bring cars back to life. That's good enough for me. You can't save them all. This is one that's not going to be saved by me. And down to Weird Beard it's going to go. Somebody will part it out. You know, it's got lots of good parts. The leather interior, the headlights. I mean, it's got good tires. There's plenty of parts on this car. Someone can make a few bucks off of it. I'll probably take my battery out. That was a... Oh, that's a Duracell. Never mind. I know how much that battery was. That's a $100 battery. So I'll put another battery in, but I'm taking my battery back. We'll use it on another car. It is what it is, man. Auction is coming up. Well, for you guys, auction's already happened. So maybe we won something else. Maybe we didn't. I need the garage space. So we're going to get this out of here, get my garage space back, get this mess cleaned up. We're going to move on to the next one. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You can't win them all, guys. And as long as you keep that mentality and you win more than you're losing, you're doing it right. You're doing it right. So down the road, old Betsy. And I appreciate all of you guys and gals for watching. Seriously, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the content. Leave your comments below. Stay safe out there, everybody. I will catch you all very soon in the next one. Now, I decided to add just a tidbit to the end of this video because I said I wasn't going to put it back together. Or I wasn't going to put it all back together. And I don't know, I decided that wasn't the right thing to do. So we got it all back together. All the bolts, all the hoses, everything, clamps. The serpentine belt, probably can't see it down there, but serpentine belt is on the alternator. Tensioner, motor mount. The jack is pulled out from under it, so the engine is supported by the mount. All I got left is to put the inner fender back on here and the wheel, and that's it. And I don't know why, but I was like, man, you know, I'm going to give it one more shot at starting up before I just completely give up on it. And it kind of surprised me, but it tried to jump off. Now, it's not going to do it again. It was very brief, but I mean, I felt it. Like, it really tried to kick off, and I haven't been able to get it to do it again since. So maybe the car is flooded, the engine's flooded from trying to crank it so much. I don't know. Best thing I can do is just let it sit overnight, try again tomorrow, but nah, see, now it's not going to do it. You're going to turn me into a liar. You're going to turn me into a liar. There it goes. The initial crank, when I first tried to crank it up, it only does it every so often, but as soon as you push the button, it tries to jump. You can feel the car shake, and then it goes right back to normal. I'll try it a couple more times. Yeah. See, I felt it there. Let's try it one more time. Nah. Just not gonna do it, are you, girl? Okay. Now, that's gonna be a real wrap, at least for this video. If I can get it running at some point in the future, great. You know, we'll come back and I'll be like, hey, it was just low on fuel. And I'll put some fresh gas in, although I know it's not going to do any good. Or if a good charge on the battery or something. I don't know. If it fires up, we'll come back to this. Or maybe I'll even include it in this video. But for now, I just wanted you guys to see it's all back together, aside from the windshield cowling and the windshield wipers, which I'll put those back on too. I decided to do it right and not half-ass it. Just because the car didn't fire up and didn't run for us doesn't mean we need to leave it all taken apart. So it's back together for the next owner. And I guess with that, now we're out of here.